Hey everybody, it's Emily Ray, your course director for Editing for the Web. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of positive, productive feedback on these portfolio sites that you submitted last weekend. We are getting ready to head into Portfolio 3 next month, and the entire focus of that month will be on building your personal brand and enhancing this portfolio website and the content that you intend to share on it. So these are just some notes to give you some guidance for where you can take this site from here and how you can work to evolve it over the course of next month. So first up, we've got Daniel's site. It's very clean. We've got strong branding up here at the top with the logo. Very clear navigation, home, portfolio, about, contact, and blog. I'm going to scroll down. We have a nice picture of him and his family, and then just a bit of a mission statement down here. Now, what I'll say, Daniel, is that I enjoy kind of this modern or technical-looking font in sparing usage. It's not something that you want to use for paragraph text because it's a little bit more difficult to read. It would be more ideal for something like a header or a subheader or maybe even a page title. You want to go with something that's a bit easier to read. Additionally, anytime you have paragraph text, you want that to align on the left-hand side there for easy reading. Jumping next over to portfolio. So here we have this divided into education and projects. I'm wondering, what is project something like professional? Is it something personal? Maybe a bit more information as to how I can distinguish between these two things here. Going over to education, here I see education and school projects. So I've got a mixture of things here. Small thumbnails. At this size, these thumbnails are kind of useless just because they're extremely hard to read. I see when I hover over them, I do get a title there. But as far as sharing the visuals on these, the repetitive nature, it kind of makes them look all the same. My recommendation here would be to have an area that said maybe projects, school projects, and then maybe certifications, and just list the titles of the courses that you went through, and then maybe link that to the certificate. Because we all know that lynda.com is a very robust training library, and maybe even you want to write a short blurb to help other people understand the value of lynda.com. Maybe just something as simple as, I completed these tutorials through lynda.com, which is an online learning library, where you can learn software and other different kinds of skills, and then maybe link to lynda.com there just in case someone's not familiar with the value of what you're showing. So here we have a few different things. I'm going to click on one just to see what happens. It opens up in a larger light box effect, finding the recipe that resonates and entices change. I get a title down here. But again, I'd like to know a little bit more about this project that I'm looking at. How can I work to understand this as an audience member or as a visitor to your site, right? There's not much there. I don't know why you're showing me this. Is it the message? Is it the design? Is it the marketing? Anytime you're going to share a project, you want to make sure that you're highlighting and making it very clear what it is you're trying to show your viewer. What skills are you highlighting? What software did you use? That sort of thing. So for every project you include, you want to have a title and a clear description of your role and your intent by sharing that. I'm going to jump back over to projects here, and so here we see a few more thumbnails. Wondering, kind of what the difference is between these two, right? So this says 5 weeks, and this one is just the logo itself. So it looks a bit redundant, and there's not enough information for me to understand why you're including both of those versions. So again, something that you want to make sure that you're contextualizing for your viewer. Help us understand why you're sharing this piece of content. Why did you handpick this out of everything you've done to share on your portfolio website? Are you trying to attract more work like this? Remember, a portfolio is just a collection of the types of work that you want to showcase to demonstrate demonstrate a skill set in a particular area in the hopes of getting jobs in that area. So here, just a little about. We've got a nice picture of you, a little bit about your background. You know, you use a kind of an oval container here for your image there, but on the home page you have a square. Now that's just a stylistic difference, you know, that is inconsistent from page to page. One is not better than the other. They're just different. Here you're applying a shadow box effect, but on this about page you're not doing that. My recommendation is just to be consistent from page to page. Another thing to note is, so let's say when we go to this page, the font that you've used for your page title up here is different than what we see on the about page. On the contact page here we have just a simple way that we can get in touch with you, where you're located, and ways to connect with you in various other places online. Last but not least, we've got your blog, which takes us to some of your writing, which is always great to include writing samples, you know, just in terms of getting your voice out there and your message. Overall, this is a super strong foundation to start with. Again, a focus of Portfolio 3 next month will be on doing, you know, changes, revisions to this, and infusing it with different aspects of your personal brand. So next up we have Marissa's site. So here, very clean, strong impact with this, you know, really pretty image, but it's hard to read your name here, right? So you can see as I highlight it, it's much easier with the different color background on there. So that's something that you want to make sure that you're always having enough contrast between your background image and your text so that it can be clearly read. Otherwise, it's not usable. We have home, about me, work, Linda, resume, tutorial, or testimonials, and contact. Media professional at your side. Wondering what happens when I click this. So it looks like a button, but nothing happens, so no functionality there. Created for you communications, I'm here to make you smile. So it seems like there's a little bit of a typo in there. Maybe created for your communications, I'm here to make you smile. Not sure. You know, not really sure about this element or this element here. They just don't really seem to go even aesthetically with the choices that you've made up here at the top. We've got an image of you, but then not much else. So, you know, my recommendation here is to make more use of this home page. This site is going to be about you, so it makes sense to me that this about information here can be found on the home page, right? So to me, it doesn't seem that you need two separate pages. This could be your home page, in fact. Here we get a short little blurb about you. We've got your, you know, your mission statement and who you are professionally. Again, anytime that you have paragraph text, you want that not center aligned, but left aligned for the readability of that. Over to my work. Relevant coursework and or professional projects. So, you know, I know that that was what was asked of you to include, but it's not necessarily the language that I would think to include up here in the banner image. Maybe find something that fits more and it's more descriptive of what we're finding here. So projects created by me at Full Sail. So here we've got a few different things on the page, and these just look like, you know, images that, you know, they're so small that I can barely kind of read the text here or understand even why you are sharing them on your portfolio site. I need to get a title, a description of what you were asked to do. What skills are you trying to showcase here? Is it marketing? Is it graphic design? Is it web design? These are all things that as your instructor I can infer, but if I'm a stranger or a potential client, I need to know more about that. Over to your lynda.com certificates. So here again, I just see a screenshot of information. Now this is poor form in terms of, this is a picture of text. It has no usability in that I can't highlight this, I can't click on it, I can't learn anything more. What I would encourage you to do is under About Me or even maybe Resume, put a skills section, then list by typing out all of these titles and then link that title to the certificate itself. Under resume, so here we've got your background, where you've been working. There's some odd spacing here, like, you know, this is a lot of spacing, and it looks as if you were trying to mimic a bit more of a print layout with the way that these are tabbed over. I would encourage you just to stack them in a list and apply different headings and subheadings that would make them easily scannable, and that would follow that F-shaped pattern that we know people scan information on the web. You've got a ton of experience here, but the formatting of this page is off. Make it a bit more usable in that regard. Testimonials. So here it looks like you have done testimonials from of my work from my colleagues and collaborators and instructors. So here it looks like you've got a little bit of the the feedback that was provided to you on some of your assignments. What I would encourage you to do here, Marissa, is maybe reach out to some people you've done some work for or who know your work product and get them to provide you, just a recommendation or a testimonial of sorts, about something specific, a project that you can then point to show people what you are getting those kudos for. Last but not least, under the contact page, again, this is this kind of strange graphic with a typo. And then just the information here is kind of scattered on the page, right? So we've got your name, your phone number. What I would recommend is, carrying this text across the top underneath the title here, and then maybe providing a contact form and links to social media outlets. Generally, what we see here are the use of icons that then link to those locations, because this is just a URL, which is also not the best way to share a link on a website. We want something that's meaningful titled or that has that's a bit more recognizable than just a straight up URL. So here we have Allison's site, so a very kind of cool, visual aesthetic here. We've got the menu. Let's see what we've got: home, blog, photography, music, and contact. We've got this image. I'm wondering what it is. It looks as if maybe it's a logo. It kind of looks like an A. I'm digging the shape of it, but need more of a connection with it. I don't see this replicated anywhere else, so it's kind of a question mark. Here it says, "We fear rejection, want attention, crave affection, and dream of perfection." Journalist, photographer, and musician. So it's cool that I get that information about you, that snapshot, but not much else, right? So you don't really use this homepage for anything other than a graphic and a short bit of information. We've got a link to your Facebook page, which is awesome. But again, this area is being wasted. I would imagine that it would be a better use of the space to include a little bit more of your about information and maybe even highlight a featured project or two as people want to dig in and see what you've got going. So here we've got your blog and just a bit of writing that it looks as if, okay, I'm having a little trouble understanding the way to navigate this. So here I have to go back to menu, blog, and then I click on one of these and I get an image. So maybe this is a photo blog, but it's not really clear that that's your intent here. So maybe a blog isn't the best way to be sharing these pictures one by one, especially since you're not contextualizing them with any thoughts or writing. It might be something that maybe in the future you want to share a picture and then share the information about the shoot or the subject or the theme. But as a picture alone, so like here, I can't even really navigate to the next picture without going up here to menu, blog, scroll down. So this is definitely not the best in terms of usability. The images that you're sharing are striking, but you don't even really saying this is my image. It's hard to know how to interpret what you're sharing here on these pages. You need to spoon feed us a little bit more so that we can understand. So here it says coming soon. This was your photography page. So definitely would like to see a more functional display of the images that you want to share. Under music, so here this is also coming soon, not much content there, and then contact, just a simple form and way to get in touch. This seems like it's going to be a strong foundation for your work, but right now the usability of what you've shared is off. It requires too many clicks and there's no information to help me understand what I'm seeing and why you're sharing it. So those are all things that you really need to work towards in Portfolio 3. So here we've got Rob's site. We've got your initials here, but it doesn't say your name anywhere. And then it just kind of gives this tagline, creative solutions for your marketing needs. I would encourage you to, perhaps include your name somewhere, just because, we just see your initials and don't really have, is that the name of your company? Is that the name of an individual? That's kind of, left up to interpretation there. You want to make that a bit clearer. Additionally, this kind of distressed or grunge look that you use for creative Creative Solutions. It's a bit hard to read in these smaller applications. I might suggest you use something a little bit clearer for that tagline. Here we've got your social media accounts, but as I hover over them, I can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen that they are in fact still linking to Wix locations, so that's something that you are going to want to update. As I'm scrolling down, there's not much on this home page besides a few images. We've got a few banner images that are like kind of rotating through here, just these two. And then our three, let's see. And then always on target with Marketing Solutions. So you're really not, maximizing the use of this space either. It would be great if you could consolidate some of the information perhaps on the About page that talks about you being a storyteller and having your education and experience. So here, as I hover over this, I can see that it's going to open up a PDF for, maybe it was going to be your resume, but here there's nothing there just yet. And this link isn't active and doesn't take me anywhere just yet. So these are areas that definitely need to be updated with content so that I can understand a little bit more about you and why I might be looking at your work or intending to hire you. Again, anytime you have paragraph text, you want to left align it for easy readability instead of center aligning that text. Under blog, so here we have where your featured posts will be, but it doesn't look as if there's any content there at the time being. Portfolio, so your show reel. So you're sharing a few videos with me here, which is great, but I don't know what you've done with these, right? Did you film them? Did you edit them? Were you the cinematographer? Were you the producer? So what's missing is detailed information and an explanation of why you're sharing this. It's to showcase something about the video or something about your skills. So I need a title, a description of the piece, and then your role in the piece. Under context, so it looks like you've got placeholder text here, and then just placeholder, or this is your actual information, and then a place where you can submit a message. So placeholder content is there. It's designed to show you where you can put stuff, but if you don't intend to have some, it needs to be deleted, or else this needs to be edited to fit exactly what it is that you want to say. Last but not least, under photo, we get a kind of a large version of your logo again, which is cool to see in this larger size, but no content. So what's really missing here is understanding what it is that you intend to show on your portfolio, and who you are as a media strategist or designer or creative professional. All of that is still needs to be defined and will be done so in Portfolio 3. So here we've got Megan's site. She is a student, a writer, and a dreamer. And on radio. So we've got a couple of different aesthetics here, like a kind of an abstract, watercolor image, and then we have like antique books. I would say that's, pretty diverse. Scrolling down, we see a picture of you and then a little bit about you. So this area is nicely framed. It's not a lot of text, but it's easy to, scan and learn a little bit more about you. I'm going to go ahead and click this, and in doing so, let's see, it's taking me to the About Me page. So here, just a little bit more about you, your education, and then view some of your work. It's going to take me to the My Work page, and I have the option to contact you there. So these look like large images with a bit of text on them, and I can't click to make any one of them bigger. So I don't know how to understand this page. I don't know what you're showing me. Is it the writing itself? Is it the image? Because if it's the writing, you've lost a lot of usability with it by turning your words into a collection of pixels in the shape of words, right? There's not, these aren't words on the page anymore. It's pixels in the shape of words that form sentences. And as a human being, I can read this and understand, but a machine like a web crawler or a search engine is not going to be able to find any of this if someone were to put this in as search terms. So I'm having a hard time understanding what you're showing me and why. How about a title? How about an indication of what it is that you want me to know about this piece? Last but not least, we're going to go to the contact page here, just how someone can get in touch. It's simple and functional. This might be something that if you can, I would include in the footer of the page. That way it's available everywhere, not just at the bottom of this. You guys be thinking about, how can I take this information and consolidate it into useful content areas or into the flow of the information of the page? There's no rule book that says you have to have X number of pages with X number of content. It just needs to make sense for your particular portfolio. So here we've got the portfolio of Narcisse James. It's striking in its appearance. The yellow and black looks nice. I have a little bit of a concern about the white text against the yellow here. It's a bit harder to read. The color contrast isn't really there. I would go with black text on top of the yellow in any of these spaces. I like that you tell us that you're a creative, a publicist, and a brand strategist. A little bit about you. This green, light green or yellow doesn't really work well on the white. It's terrifically hard to read. And so we go from yellow to kind of like an avocado color. It just seems like a bit off brand. So here, anytime that you apply bulleted lists, you never want to center align your text. Everything should always be left aligned there. Just consistent with what you have here would be a lot better for the look. We could call, we could email, we could connect with you on social media. Those things are linking out. So all of that is working well. I'm going to go to the resume. So here, just a little bit about your professional background and your work experience and education. This is all sectioned out nicely, but there are different font sizes between here, and even font choices. So that's something that you want to get more consistent here. Again, the avocado versus the yellow, you'll want to update that so that that's consistent. Projects. We have 1, 2, and 3 that you are looking to showcase. So this one is branding, this one's social media, and this one's also branding. I like that you have included a little bit of information to help your viewer or your visitor understand what they're looking at. Logo development, mood board creation for the Ava Collection hairline. I can click on that, I get a larger view of it, and I can see the full scope of what you've done, and I can understand what I'm looking at here. So you've done a really nice job of helping me understand these assets that you're showing. So, oh, okay, this is a social media ad. I get it now. I can see what she's trying to show me. So you've done a really nice job with this. But again, the avocado versus the yellow, definitely want to get a bit more consistent there. Last but not least, we've got the contact, just a simple way to get in touch. Again, I would look for ways to consolidate these pages that don't have a lot of content. Can you put this stuff in the footer of the page? That would be something I would explore. But overall, this is a wonderful start. Like this kind of marker looking, Sharpie looking font up here for the typeface. And this is just a super start, and I look forward to continuing to work with you on this in Portfolio 3. Next up, we've got India's site. So here it says McAfee Media, one page at a time. We get like these different logos that are scrolling through. I'm trying to click, but nothing is really happening as I do so. It says I'm working on my blog post, so expect some there. We see your name down here. And then subscribe to a newsletter or follow us. But as I hover over these, I can see that they are in fact still linking to Wix. I don't really know much about, like, this homepage doesn't give me any information about you or about McAfee Media or what I can expect from them in terms of services, what you do, how you help in the industry or help your clients. I do see all of these social media things going around. So I'm inferring social media, but that's not because you've made that clear. I was looking at, perhaps connecting with you in these locations, but those aren't really linking to your actual social media. On the About page, just a little bit of information about India, and following us again down here aren't actually linking to your pages, but to Wix. Who am I? So a little bit about your background, and then we've got your you know, what you do, content creator, media manager, editor, which is cool. I wouldn't apply bullet points here. These are definitely subheadings, and they need to be larger in appearance to help facilitate that scanning. There's an odd little space here for this content, but you know, what's missing from here is any real sampling of work. So, you know, don't have anything that shows your skill set or really talks about your education, aside from that you go to Full Sail, your background or any of that. So this is a starting point, but there's a lot that's missing from this site that's going to need to be developed further in Portfolio 3. Last but not least, we've got Logan's site here. So we've got just a kind of a really cool background image, a clear, you know, logo and brand, personal brand here, logo, Logan Elmer, games journalist. So it's nice to immediately get an idea of what it is that you do. We've got a copyright down here to Jade and Andy, proudly created with Wix. But you guys, you know, these sites should now be copyrighted to you, and say proudly created by you. Wix has a helping hand, but you don't need to, you know, promote their CMS any more than the free advertisements that they're already sticking in these various locations. So I would definitely update, you know, the copyright information with your name, and you know, say that it was created by you. This is really clean, but again, like, not a lot is being shared on the homepage here. Look for ways to consolidate some of this and take advantage of this high value real estate area. I see the social media where we can connect with Logan on other places online. Just to note, and these are small things, but you know, dotting your I's and crossing your T's are going to be important. We've got one kind of visual appearance to this social media icon, and then a totally different one. This one's just white with, you know, kind of a stamped out icon, and it's circular, and this one's colored and squared. You know, so you might just want to be consistent with the styling of the icons that you're sharing there. On the About page, so just a little bit about Logan. It's interesting because we have this container that this text shows up, and you really should be observing more padding between the elements, right? So that the text doesn't butt up right against the sides there. Your text shouldn't go anywhere beyond this window that I've drawn out, just to provide adequate padding from the top, the bottom, the right, and the left. Under articles, so here, you know, you're featuring different articles, and these are linking out to other locations. So we can see here that this is opening in another area, and we can read what you've written, which is fantastic. But what I'd like to see here is maybe an excerpt with a read more link, and then just something that talks about the work that you do, right? So you say games journalist, but there's, you know, and I'm sure that you talk about it more in depth here and in kind of your background in gaming, you know, but give us a little bit more context to understand these articles. So, you know, if we only have a limited amount of time, we can decide which one we want to explore and read further on. Here we have just your education and skills, just bullet points. I would say that, you know, there's not much content on this page, so it might just be something you want to add to the About page. And then last but not least, the contacts, simple information. Don't think we need a full page for this. I think you can throw it down here in the footer, Logan. You know, this is a nice, clean, functional site, but you know, I'd like to see you continue to mold it in a way that would be useful for you and your professional aims, right? I know that you said that you don't really think that you will use quote unquote web editing in what it is that you do as a game journalist. But, you know, if you are continuing to maintain this site and to share your work and to develop kind of this online brand and presence for yourself, you will need these skills. And the more that you can do to create a site that helps facilitate the needs of your user while there, I think will be beneficial for you moving forward. But as I said before, excited to work with you guys again on these sites in Portfolio 3, and take this feedback and start, you know, thinking about how you want to make some of these changes, but also be infusing your personal brand that you're designing next month into this site and into the content that you create.